U.G. Krishnamurti went through the whole cycle of spiritual seeking, following the path, certain practices, certain methods of whatever he felt drawn to. Like we all do, we feel drawn to a particular color, a particular religion, a particular female, male, a particular part of the landscape. We all feel drawn to believing or thinking this is the right way, the right path. This is it for me, you see. And U.G. Krishnamurti went through all these and ended up at one lecture where Jiddu was speaking, Jiddu Krishnamurti. And apparently U.G. stormed out. Because in our world of what we call time, whatever we are, the mind is always experiencing what we know as different values of the experience at different intervals, different times, in different ways, and different methods, and different outcomes, and different projections. So after my own experience, again, very similar to UG, where I ended up at a Muji satsang and I had become enlightened, or the mind had become enlightened, or whatever it was. The experience was so traumatic before going to the satsang. But you don't ridicule Muji and say, well, I know more than you. I did this before. I did this a long time ago. Because you're there for a reason. You see, and Yuji was at that Krishnamurti talk for a reason, but he had already experienced the shock. But it's like everything else. Jiddu had experienced the shock many, many years before UG, but was using his ways to encounter or to try and give some light onto the truth of what Jiddu experienced. Yuji had not fully explored his shock. We all stop at different stages, at different intervals, in different ways. And we think it's the same journey and it's the same outcome. But we have created time, we have created different qualities, different ways, different values, different ways of interpreting. But the point of this is to say that UG Krishnamurti and Jiddu Krishnamurti both discovered the same thing. Both relayed or conveyed their way of the interpretation of what the discovery was. And when you yourself understand that my experience was the same as Muji, no better, no worse, but different ways, different Muji's need to create satsangs, to create communities, I understand fully. You have to deal with your trauma of enlightenment in your own way. And like everything else in life, for the human species or the human, whether it's a dream or reality, life is traumatic. Can you imagine that state of enlightenment, that sat, chit, and under bliss? Yes, it's overwhelming, it's incredibly vast, it's incredibly tranquil, but it's traumatic to the body, it's traumatic to the mind. It actually kills off the ego mind, it destroys it. And you're not proud of it. You just say, I didn't plan this. No. Even though you plan your life, or you don't plan your life, and one of each actually experienced that same enlightenment, both will say at the end, wow, how traumatic that was. Beautifully traumatic, horrendously traumatic, painfully traumatic, depending on your perception, the mind's perception of what it was allowed to experience during that shock. U.G. Krishnamurti says, no one talking. No one talk, no individual talk, no thing actually saying in a procedural way, this is how we are going to do it. Even God saying, not saying to anyone, this is the way we are going to do it. Nothing. So there's something that takes place, but is not what our mind perceives it to be. There's no planned version of your life. There's no, lesson produced for you before you enter this body to say, this is your stage, this is how you're going to live life, this is where you are, this is the family, this is how you're going to do it. And at the end, you didn't do it well, or you did it really well, or you need to do it again. There's nothing like that. But what UG says, which it sounds very negative to the human, there's nothing else except this flesh and body appearing and then disappearing, and no more of whatever your belief or your system or your acknowledgement of what you are as a person, as a name, as a feeling of being a specific quality or a soul or a spirit. There's no more. So U.G. Krishnamurti knocks it on the head. There is only birth, life, death. So if, with this in mind, there has to be something in you that really discovers a pretty contented way of living. UG was really angry that he was born wealthy and everyone else was born poor. He blames the system. He says the same as any religious person, equality. Why don't we just feed each other the same? Why don't we pay each other the same money? What is this system that creates division, hierarchy, and all that stuff? Everyone says that, but no one really tries to alter or change that. If you do, you're programmed back into being imprisoned, or you're just stifled. Your mind is stifled, you see. So what U.G. Krishnamurti and Jiddu Krishnamurti are saying is, yes, okay, whether there is just this individual life as you, this individual thing, or whether there is infinite life and you appear in different bodies with different names and different cultures called reincarnation, forget these two things and just find something within your life that just flows with life. So even in this statement, it makes you understand that there's no one talking any sense, talking any nonsense. There's just something that is taking place, something that is hovering. It's not masking anything, it's not hovering over anything or under anything, it's hovering. And when you become the hovering, or when life hovers on its own, and you feel submerged or connected or truly one with this hovering, it's much better than heaven. It's much better than finding God. It's much better than understanding the universe and science. It's much better than praying to something that will never intervene, that does not exist to them. To find this pure state of living is much more fruitful than to spending an afternoon having tea with God, or to go back in time and listen to a sermon on the hill from Christ. So we put our mind's emphasis on great things external from us, or something that we have to change to get. But if you listen to both of these Krishnamurtis, we're already that, you see. When we want change, we want activities, qualities, values, measurement. When we want something that we can feel holy to, it's going to be the best thing in life. But they say, no, nothing is better than living. UG has money. I have some cash. Yeah, it's fortunate, because in this systematic world, they have made it that you only can flow with life if you have cash. You don't have any attachments or, responsibilities towards life. You see, myself, I understand fully what these two great speakers say. Forget religion. Forget science. Forget after this body dies or fades. Forget what happened centuries ago. Stop hoping, believing, and dreaming of something that may happen, and after it happens you go, wow, that was the greatest thing that ever happened, but now I'm back where I was before. And just open the roller coaster seat and sit down, and don't wait for the attendant to clasp you in. Don't clasp yourself in. Just lay back and live peacefully, contentedly, with no thoughts, with no desires, with no needs, reasons, methods, practices, no religious connections, no scientific connections, no relationship connections to God, consciousness, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, the Quran, and allow this life to pass through you. And that is pure living. You don't need words to describe it. You don't need anything to enhance it. You don't need to say, look, I have experienced this, and it was awesome, and now I've went from non-duality to duality, and now I'm back, and now my ego is here, and all these things that this speaker has been saying. It's just an acceptance to accept that what is taking place, whatever it is, whether it's nothing happening or whether it's everything happening, it makes no sense to your mind, but it makes complete sense to living as yourself in the purest way of living is to be and let be. Who can do it? Mind wants to know a flavor of it. Mind wants to know a quality of it. Mind wants to know when it's going to happen. Mind knows if there's a beginning and when it will end. Mind wants to know all these great crazy things about if God approves it. Is it the right religion? Is it the right color? Am I the right person? Mind wants to know all these things. But there's no one talking. Mind is not the talker. Mind is just laughing its way through life, trying to make something out of something. Something is already here. Something is already here. You don't need approval. You don't need confirmation. You don't need justification. You don't need to add anything onto your something that you are. Something is already here. What makes the human problem is we want to make something else out of something. I love you, G. No one talking. I love Jiddu. No one listening. Who is listening? Who are you? Who am I? Who is talking? Questions that dispose of the questions. When questions dispose of themselves, there's only contented life as it is.